my right hand represents the parent and my left hand represents the child. Right hand above left doesn't mean the parent is better, doesn't mean you're more worthy of respect or that you're in control. It means you're the grown-up in the room and that you're in charge, not in control, in charge. So this is the captain of the ship. It's a dependent relationship. The child is meant to depend upon you. It's comforting to the child to know that you're in charge. They might still push for what they want. They might not like your answers or the limits that you set, but it still creates a sense of safety for a child to know there's somebody who's like a captain of the ship, scanning the horizon, watching for icebergs, checking for storms, making sure that if there is a problem and the seas are rough and stormy, the captain exudes the kind of confidence that lets you as the passenger know that you're going to get to the other side, that you'll get across. So this is the captain of the ship. The child might say, I want to stay up till midnight. I'm a big kid. You always make me go to bed and I don't want to go to bed. I'm not even tired. Or I want to stay up till 10 o'clock like my 15-year-old brother. And this is your 7-year-old. I want to stay up till 10 too. It's not fair. He gets to stay up till 10 or 11. And as the captain of the ship, you might say with compassion, I see that. And it looks like it's hard for you to see your brother staying up so late when you have to go to bed. Maybe you don't want to miss anything, so it's hard to go to bed so much sooner. And the child says, yeah, and grandma lets me stay up late like big brother. Well, grandma shouldn't be doing that, you say. Grandma knows the rules. I don't know why she does that. Well, that's because grandma's not so controlling and she loves me and you don't even care and you're so mean. What do you mean? I care about you. I'm putting you to bed because your body needs sleep, blah, blah, blah. So you see, this is the captain, and this is what I call the two lawyers. Nobody's in charge. You're arguing, you're explaining, you're justifying, you're coming at. And then it goes here. You're the meanest parent in the world. You're so controlling. You always have to have your way. You don't even care about me. You don't even care. You're tired, so you think I have to go to bed, and you say, that's ridiculous. Go to your room right now. In fact, you're grounded for the weekend, or, no dessert for you. Now, the way you know you're down here, which I call the dictator, you're trying to feel in control, but dictators don't have genuine control. They rule by fear and intimidation. They threaten to wipe out your bank account or throw you in jail. So when we go into dictator mode, it's because inside we feel out of control, we feel desperate, we feel unappreciated, we feel exhausted. So we bribe and we threaten. If you don't, then this is going to happen. And so power struggles happen here when you're in dictator mode, or here when you're in lawyer mode. When you're here and the child is upset or frustrated, you simply help the child move through their upset. You give them room to express their frustration or their sadness, and you move them toward their sadness. Power struggles can't happen with one person. So one of the biggest tips I give for avoiding a power struggle is not to take the bait. So the child might say, why don't you ever let me? Or I'm not going to do this and you can't make me. As soon as you go, what do you mean? What do you mean you're going to announce what's going to happen here? I'm the parent. You're off to the races. So we slow things down, and the child might make some kind of outlandish claim or demand, and I'm not going to do this work and you can't make me. And where do we go? Right here, here or here. Just notice, that's the first step. Just notice, oh, I'm in lawyer, I'm in dictator, and inside me, I want to come on the attack. I want to explain why he has to do that assignment. I want to tell him how lucky he is. I want to give him the lecture. But he's not open. So what's the point? All that means is you're going to set in motion a power struggle. So I slow things down. And if we would talk about first validating, it sounds like this is not an assignment you want to do. I wonder if it looks really hard, or maybe it seems very boring. So you come alongside the child. You're giving the impression that you're on the same side, you're on the same team. The power struggle cannot happen unless both of you are arguing and pushing. So I'm much more interested in acknowledging what the child's saying, noticing inside if you're feeling triggered or upset or or outraged. But rather than playing it out with the child, which doesn't lead to a good outcome, to slow things down and say, tell me what's going on for you. Now, that doesn't mean you don't hold a limit. I hear that you think this looks really boring. I've heard you tell me that you really think it's a stupid assignment. I get that you were hoping that I would let you off the hook and say, oh, you can skip it. Unfortunately, this is not an optional assignment, but if I can help you, support you, make you a cup of tea, sweetie, maybe we could break it into 10-minute sections. I'm here to help. This idea that when a child voices a complaint or they're struggling with something, part of us almost gets excited, like, oh, a chance to teach you, to tell you, to share my wisdom with you. So I'm doing this program now for all of you, and I've been invited to. I've been asked to share some of the things I've learned in the 40 plus years I've been doing my work. But imagine if I went out in the street and whoever walked by, I grabbed that person and I said, hey, stand still here. I have some things to tell you about parenting. Don't move, pay attention. And then I start doing the same thing I'm doing with you right now. And if the person starts to walk off and say, no, wait, I'm not done. And then I kind of elaborate and I say, now, did you understand what I just said? And do you see why this is so important as parents? And the person's like, I didn't sign up for your class. So I encourage you, when you feel tempted to like spout all your lectures and wisdom on your kids, did they sign up for your class? Because if you don't create receptivity, you have a person with the glazed eyes looking at you thinking, when is this going to be over? And nothing's going in, and it's completely a waste of time. And then you're going to be frustrated as the parent thinking, they don't respect me, they're not valuing my insight. You didn't cultivate the soil yet. There's things that I teach parents to do to get the child to be open and receptive to your guidance. And if you skip those things, it's the same as taking seeds and finding a dry, bone dry piece of dirt and throwing the seeds on the top of this bone dry dirt. Nothing's going to grow. We have to prepare and create receptivity and interest in our children before we can teach them. There are so many elements out of our control right now in terms of the pandemic, and life is upside down, and there's so much uncertainty, and human beings don't like uncertainty. We like to know what's going on, where the ground is, when things are going to be back to normal. And right now, none of us have that ability or that assurance. So one of the gifts of this year, I believe, is that we can model something so precious for our kids, something that will influence who they become and how they engage with life once they grow up. And that is this notion of flexibility and appreciation. When they see us being flexible, meeting the moment as it is, even if it's not what we wanted, and we use a little bit of humor and lightness, and that may not be something so easy. It may not come naturally. We may take things quite seriously and believe that things matter, significantly. But when the things are so out of our control, if the goal for this coming year was to help our children see us and therefore learn how to be more flexible and meet the moment as it is, to use more humor, and to appreciate the things that we are having. Families, even though it's exhausting and overwhelming, you are getting to know your children far more than you did last year. I know that that's a fact. People are discovering lots of things about their kids that they just didn't know because they didn't see them in front of, they understand them better as learners. They understand their personality a little bit better. So I think if we set a different kind of goal beyond just what my child's academic achievements will be for the year ahead, understanding that because everyone is going through this, the idea of a child falling behind it's not really relevant here, because everyone is moving. We're all, compromised in terms of our ability to master certain skills or work with the material in a way that might enhance learning and accelerate the things. Everyone's on a level playing field. So if we could see that maybe academically our kids, maybe they won't quite go as fast or as far as they might have if school had been in session. And by the way, that's not true for all children. Some children are going to do better because of the distance learning. the flexibility, the independence. We know in this country, in the States, that children who have been homeschooled are more desirable candidates for universities. They're preferred because they have developed more independent work habits. They're more independent learners. They can often pursue their own interests with more curiosity and passion, because you now have these stretches of time where your kids, maybe they accomplish the required subjects, but then of course, a lot of times that gets them, it doesn't take a full day. So maybe now you've got a child who's pursuing an interest in animals, doing a research project, or making music, or starting to learn to paint or craft, or things they wouldn't have had time to do otherwise. And I would encourage you to do the same in front of your kids. Pursue an interest or a passion that you don't have time for, especially with all the things we've discussed: keeping up the house, overseeing your kids' schooling, doing your working. But even if it's once a week for an hour or two, if they can see that you're painting or you're writing or you're dancing, we can come through this year, all of us, enriched in ways we might not have imagined, and that we certainly didn't think we had time for. So this idea of flowing, being accepting, and I don't mean to undercut the importance of academics, but I believe that it's not the quantity of time that that solidifies a child's learning of a certain concept, but it's, can they engage with it? You don't necessarily need to do 50 math problems to get the concept down. For some kids, they do 5 and they've gotten it. So don't think in terms of quantity, think in terms of quality. And you can maybe devote a little bit of time to learning something with your child. Nothing better than to take on something together, or let your child teach you something that he's studying in school. Let them teach you what they're learning in biology or physiology or long division. And those are also ways to solidify a child's learning. But the most important thing for me is that we keep our eye on the prize. And to me, the prize is, we want to raise children who love learning and who feel competent and capable to learn whatever is their natural calling. And so we don't want to, throw water on the flame of their innate passion. We actually want to nurture it and feed it and give it fuel. So let your kids see you being passionate about learning. Let them see you being more flexible with more humor. Let them see you pursuing something that you love, that you're interested in. Join them in learning together. And again, set a different standard for the coming year, one that allows you as a family to just grow together, become more understanding of each other, enjoy each other more. And I think it'll be a good year. As scary as it is, I think that some good can come from even this.